Hey folks, Dana here, back in my incredibly messy shop. Gonna do something, I was gonna say a little different, but I think very different would be more accurate. Gonna take this, it's a piece of ash. I was gonna use this piece of maple, but it doesn't quite have enough meat on it, so I'm gonna go with this piece of ash instead. And I'm gonna mount this on it somewhere in around there. Probably going to take off some of that thread so I don't have to drill down quite so far. And the plan is I'm going to carve a channel down the length of it, maybe put some epoxy in it, and it'll look like a river flowing out of that tap. At least that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to start off by trimming off all these roots. See if I can get a flat spot that'll match that flange there. Okay, got a nice flat spot carved on the top. Should be wide enough there, kind of eyeballing it for that flange to sit on it. It's gonna sit like that. Like I say, I'm gonna cut quite a bit of that off because it would stick through if I went all the way. And so next, I'm gonna take my Dremel and maybe a chisel or something and carve a little stream down it. Might go side to side a little bit, depends, but would almost make a great cane just as it is. Some really nice grain right there, but we'll tinker away at that and I'll come back. Well, I've got the channel started. You can kind of get the idea. It'll kind of meander down the stick, might go around the other side or twist around it or something. Kind of hate using the Dremel because I'm left-handed and the things are built for right-handed people, so it shoots the sawdust right at me. But yeah, that'll be kind of cool. Made a little bit of a pool up here, and I think that'll be kind of neat. Might even glue some genuine Maine pebbles into it for the water to sort of splash on, look like it's splashing on. I got a hole drilled. I'm gonna have to cut off quite a bit of that to get it so it'll fit, and I'll have to recess it a little bit to fit that square nut on there. But yeah, that's a pretty good stat anyways. I'll come back. Okay, well, I've got the channel all carved, a little stream kind of meanders down the stick. Now, normally I'd take off all the lumps like those. Little places where twigs have had grown, snapped off and got covered over by bark. But I think I'm going to leave them this time, and they'll kind of look like mountains on the terrain. So I'm going to give it an overall sanding, get rid of some of these little tiny lumps. But yeah, it might make it a little deeper first, and then the next step after that, got a little jar of gravel out of my driveway. including some genuine Maine pebbles. And I'm going to run a bead of super glue down the channel and put the really fine stuff in there so that it'll look like the gravelly, rocky bottom of a river. I'll probably put some larger pebbles in around that little pool area there. I don't know how well this is focusing, but well, that's the plan. And then probably after I sand the back down, I'll put some masking tape across the river all the way, and pour the resin down it. I'm going to tint it slightly blue so that it's translucent, so you can see the bottom of the stream, but it has a bluish tint to it. And that's about it for there. We'll come back to it. And I got some of the sandy stuff glued in, so that's more or less what she'll look like. The riverbed anyways. I'll just keep going on down the whole length of the stick like that. And then she'll be ready for resin. Although, I just looked in the box that I have, and the bottles aren't in there, so I don't know what the hell I've done with my resin, so I'll have to go get some more, I guess. But yeah, I think that's going to look pretty cool. Well, I've got the gravel all glued into the stream bed here. Might need a couple of touch-ups here and there, but it looks pretty good all the way down. And because partly because my resin hasn't showed up, and partly because I think it looks kind of cool the way it is, I think I'm going to leave it as it is. And I know on the nightly news, either local or national, there's always a story about drought conditions here and there and everywhere, and I suppose a dry riverbed's probably appropriate at the moment. I mean, it looks shiny because of the glue, but won't be any water running in it. Redo that spot there. And then I got to finish drilling out that hole for the tap. That hole saw made a hole that was big enough on the outside, but not on the inside diameter. So I'm drilling it out with a Dremel. And what I'm thinking, once I get that set in there, I'm going to have a single drop of water headed down into this little pond here. I think that'll look pretty cool. I'll probably do that with just some 2-part epoxy. But, well, got the hole drilled out, got the tap cut off, but because it is a little close, I'm actually gonna see if I recess that to fit that square bolt that would be right onto the water. So I've made a little slice of wood. I'm gonna glue that on here and cut the square recess in it. And that'll raise it up a little bit. And there should be enough thread sticking through for the epoxy to grab. At least that's the plan. We'll find out how it works. Well, got it pretty much carved out. A little bit of a gap left. I'll trim that up just a tad. I kind of wish this spout wasn't quite so long, because it would look better if it lined up with that little pool, but that's what I had to work with, so. But yeah, that's going to look pretty cool, I think. I'm going to let her all dry up in good shape and then do some more shaping tomorrow, probably. Okay, so I've packed some sawdust into the spigot or tap or faucet, whatever you want to call it, depending on where you are. And I'll put some super glue in that to solidify it. And then made a little water droplet out of one of these. It's a plastic cocktail stirrer. They were in the markdown bin at the grocery store where I get groceries, and I said to myself, boy, this looks like something I could use in a cane at some point. So I picked them up, and well, this was a couple of years ago, and this is the first one I've used. So I'll put that in there, about like that. Pack some more sawdust around it, and that should look pretty good. Well, I got her glued in. That, I think, looks pretty sweet. And today, by the way, is a perfect day for working on basically a drought-themed cane, because it's raining like crazy out there. So, oh well. Okay. Mixed up a batch of 2-part epoxy and got her glued in place. The water drop looks really nice. And once it's dry, I'll file that all smooth so that it comes flush to the edge of the base there, the edge of that flange. And well, it's just maybe a little more sanding and then coat of polyurethane, and she'll be done. So I'm going to let that go off overnight and come back through tomorrow. Well, it's next day. The epoxy has dried. Oh, and I didn't mention this. The handle still turns on this thing, which I think is kind of cool. Just doing a bit of filing to get that level with the handle, and she'll be ready for some polyurethane. But it's looking pretty snazzy. Well, I've got the first coat of poly on it. Probably need some more, but yeah, that's looking pretty cool. It's a little breezy out today. Hopefully you can hear me. But yeah, that's pretty nice. Obviously the little extension I put on doesn't quite match the rest of it, but that's okay. So I'm gonna finish spraying it and hang it up to dry, and I'll be back. Well, my resin kit showed up yesterday, so I'm gonna try something a little different using this maple blank I was gonna use for this cane. I'm gonna try and make another river down the length of it. But I'm gonna try and paint some little salmon jumping up it, and might try something really different. Carve in a little spot right there and make like a rotating wheel of resin with salmon in it. That'll have a little crank on the side here so that it'll spin, and make it look like the salmon are jumping up the cane. Might be a little ambitious for the first time using resin, but might as well jump in with both feet, right? Maybe even carve a little bear on the side somewhere trying to catch a salmon. Well, that's the plan anyways, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Feel free to give her a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Either way, leave a comment, and we'll see you later.